Hola, bueno, el invitado lo tengo súper mal organizado, porque sale el nombre del invitado y entonces ya no puedo hacer aquí un cliffhanger ni nada por el estilo. Hoy viene Peter, que es un yankee pero poco. Buenas noches a los que estáis ahí, buenas tardes a los que nos veáis más adelante, buenos días a los que nos veáis por la mañana o nos escuchéis en el formato podcast. Hoy, pues me he animado a hacer una cosa que hacía tiempo que no hacía, que era traer un invitado para hablar en inglés. Yo sé que cuando traía invitados en inglés, Peter ha estado y alguno más que ha venido, Ernie pues cuando ponía los subtítulos, pues como que no os gusta tanto. Entonces, he decidido que creo que tiene mucho que aportar y me va a apetecer traer gente del otro lado del charco en la medida que pueda para hablar. Pero para aquellos que no habléis la lengua de Shakespeare, no pasa absolutamente nada, porque está esperando a que YouTube me apruebe. Y según me ha dicho, ahora mis vídeos ya pueden verse doblados. Es decir, la inteligencia artificial los va a doblar directamente al español. Con lo cual eso significa que si no queréis estar en directo, no pasa nada, nos veis en diferido y podéis escuchar a lo que Peter tiene que aportar. Como yo sé que tiene una agenda muy apretada, para mí es realmente un honor, me complace muchísimo tenerlo aquí y que comparta conmigo cosas, porque para mí es un referente. Dicen que no conozcas a la gente que han dado el camino antes que tú, que luego te van a... Y es totalmente falso. Peter es una de las mejores personas que conozco y lo estoy diciendo, él me está escuchando, pero no me entiende. Y no voy a hacer el chiste de su jardinero mexicano. Pero él es una de las mejores personas que conozco, me ha abierto su casa, su familia, sus amigos, absolutamente todo. Y además, en temas de gestión de centros, lo ha inventado todo, ha escrito el libro, lo ha escrito, lo ha roto, y por eso para mí es un honor que yo esté aquí. Así que no voy a retrasar mucho más. Aquí está, vamos a ponerle unos aplausos, ¿vale? A ver si me sale la máquina de los aplausos. Peter, welcome, good night. How are you? How hot it is in sunny California?
Nacho, thank you for a wonderful introduction. I think you said I was one of the best people you know.
Yes, you are.
But
Yes, I said that.
if you see, I understand a little bit of Spanish.
Yes.
It's wonderful to be with you. I enjoyed the time we had together in Orlando about a week or so ago. And it is 71 degrees Fahrenheit in Los Angeles right now. We have no snow on the ground, but I do know that on the East Coast, they have somewhere between 25 and 35 inches of the white stuff on the ground.
I know we are also having a little bit of a cold blast here, which, well, let's be honest, is winter, so it's what is expected. I was worried that it wasn't being cold enough, and somehow the cold has come back. But anyway, I haven't brought you here to talk about the weather. Okay, mind you, we could also do something about it too. As you know, hold on a second, I'm trying to find it because somewhere in here I've got the book that, no, not you. This is the book I've got with Peter, the one that is here. We brought a book together not so long ago about how to fix practices. This week in Orlando, when we were talking to some of the colleagues and everything, they asked me what do I do for a living, and I reply, I fix practices, which is what you used to do, didn't you, Peter?
True. I was never a mammoth hunter, though. Okay,
Yeah,
because
no, no.
I was living with, as you'd like to suggest, I actually lived with the mammoths and cohabitated with them and rode them.
Yes,
But
you
yeah,
do.
I I used to fix practices, um, and it was like working with clients because you'd go to a hospital and you'd give them a treatment plan and you'd help them solve some of the problems. And like a pet owner that you send home with medications that never administers the medications, many veterinary hospital owners paid you for the exam, for the treatment plan, and never administer the medications. So I just decided that there were other things that I could do to help our profession besides fixing broken hospitals.
I know. I mean, I totally agree with you. I don't know why I've learned from you, but basically, I still try to fix practices. And as you said, we get paid to give advice, not for them to follow it. And once we've done that, and we move on from that kind of frustration, well, it is something that is not a problem. But unfortunately, sometimes it does take a toll on you. So why are you here? Why have I invited you here today? So let's start from the beginning. You were hospital owner, veterinary hospital owner in California,
Correct.
despite you were originally from New York, I've been told.
Right.
And then you sold it. Tell us how is that? How was that? How did you come to that conclusion?
So if we go back to the dark ages when I was a hospital owner,
I'm gonna find a
when
mammoth somewhere.
electricity
Hold on a
was up-
second. I've got mammoth somewhere. Yes. There's one there.
you want me to- I can grab my my wombat, which is like anyhow. I was in practice. I went back to school and got my MBA, my business degree, while I was in practice, and I realized that there's such a great need for business acumen that, after I kind of built my practice up and got it to a point, and also while I was running my hospital, I was applying much of what I learned in business school in my practice. And so when the practice became less dependent upon me and more dependent upon the systems and processes that we developed, I realized that that was a message that I could bring to the audience of veterinary practitioners. And so I sold my hospital with great excitement. It was early on in the stages of corporate acquisitions, and it wasn't a very painful process to me. And clients ask, or pet owners and friends, and ask, don't you miss being a veterinarian? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am still a veterinarian.
Mm-hmm.
Ladies and gentlemen, I still take care of pets, but I do it through my colleagues like Nacho and others who are still in clinical practice, because good medicine is good business.
Mm-hmm.
And so really what I do a lot now is talk about leadership and team building and systems and processes and key performance indicators. And I really try to advocate. So in this last third of my career, which should equal a couple hundred millennia, I am a teacher. I'm an educator. I'm an advocate for the veterinary profession.
I know he's really humble. He basically teaches the next generation. He's a very active member of everything management in the US. So obviously he knows, when he talks, everybody listens, and he's one of the people I like to borrow the ear to know what's going on. Hold on a second. Just give me 2 seconds. I need to put you on hold, Peter, for 2 seconds. I'm having some trouble here. Hello, Peter. Sorry about that. I had some trouble and just I interrupt you. So 2 seconds. So you're making all the jokes about the age and how old you are and everything, and that is not true. I know that you're a person that everybody listens to, that you have a huge connection with the youth community. I mean, you have even a mentorship program. Talk to me about that one, please.
The mentorship program that we created, and thank you for allowing me to speak on that, Nacho, is really to help mentor young doctors become hospital owners. I'm a big advocate for independent hospital ownership. I still think that is the bread and butter of veterinary medicine. And maybe I'm a little bit maybe too much blue sky. But I grew up reading one of your compatriots in terms of James Herriot. And as you know, I had the opportunity to go visit Thirsk and see his place during the summer. And to me, that just kind of reinvigorated my desire to help young doctors control their destiny by owning hospitals. And so we've built an online portal to help educate through how to start a hospital, how to buy a hospital, dealing with lawyers, dealing with accountants, dealing with architects, plans, locations, the whole 9 yards. And so we mentor young doctors who are interested in hospital ownership, whether it's an acquisition or startup. And if I can do a little bit of promotion, the
Yes, you
website
can.
is www.
Yes.
I'm going to give you the short website.
Why don't you send it to me, and I'll put it on the screen while we keep talking, and I can share it. So not a problem.
Okay.
Just tell me, because you're touching a topic that I really like, which is the fact that you encourage younger doctors to start up a hospital and everything, which is really good, which used to be out of fashion for a bit. Apparently everybody wanted just a job, and now we're still starting to see a little bit of a comeback of that. Tell me, is it a good time to open a hospital?
Absolutely. The banks will loan. Pet owners are looking for options and choices. And as I know in Europe, and especially in the UK, and to a degree in the United States, a large portion in the UK, even more than 50%, but in the US, about 25% of veterinary hospitals are owned by private equity venture capital money. So they're corporate owned. And I think that the average consumer, the pet owners, are truly looking for that still mom and pop type feel that you get from a privately owned business, one that is kind of manned by people and owned by people who are local to the community, whose kids are going to the elementary schools there, who you run into at the grocery store. And so I do think that down-to-earth veterinary practice that I grew up in and you grew up in is still very vibrant, and the money is there, the opportunity is there, and if you can build a practice that meets the needs of the consumer from an availability standpoint, from a clinical standpoint, from a cost of care standpoint, I think there's a tremendous amount. And I actually wrote an article about the renaissance of entrepreneurship in veterinary medicine.
Yes. I'm trying to put your webpage on the screen, and in the process I've lost you. I've got you back. There you have it. Excellent. So now your webpage is on the screen. And also the web address, so anybody that want to talk with somebody can actually do it. Because I finished a book myself recently, which is the diary of a entrepreneurial veterinarian, female veterinarian, she vet. Because I felt pretty much similar to what you are describing, which is that we need to get back to models, or probably invent new business models adapted to the new demographics of the veterinary profession. You and I are dinosaurs. Well, I mean, you're probably a trilobite and I'm a dinosaur, but we both know what I mean. And the younger generation is different. They have different needs, different expectations, different willingness to work, different approach to work. So obviously we cannot give them the same models that have been proven not good. Let's just say not good, because we both know that in that one, yes, it has brought the veterinary profession to a certain place, but there is places that still probably could do better. And I'm talking about the consolidation, the rapid consolidation that has happened in Europe, that we were talking, it's all the rage in the US, but you said 25%. We both know that the figures are 25% of primary care, 75% of referrals, something in that area. So they've taken the cream of the cake and left the grind of the job, but it's also the most rewarding. Or what are your views on doing that primary care there within the community and everything, which is something I advocate as well myself.
Well, the practice of veterinary medicine is got to be a business as well, but we are a people industry. We're a relationship-based industry. And when you have a team, you want them to have what we call an ownership mentality. And when the owner is actually there working with them, it's much easier for them to focus on the why or the purpose of the business and not get lost in the fact that it's not all about the transactions. It's really all about building a long-term relationship within the community and being a pillar of that community long-term. So that's why I still think veterinary medicine is going to have a renaissance of independent hospitals. Oh, and by the way, as you know, Nacho, hospital ownership is much more lucrative over the long haul than associateship.
Yeah.
And so it gives you opportunities that you won't get when you work for somebody else. And if you think that being a hospital owner takes away your freedom, actually, when you own something, you have more freedom. You have to work up to it. You know, it's not going to come readily. It's not going to happen overnight. But eventually, when you own something, you actually have the freedom if you do it correctly. And as you and I talk about and know about, you can either own a business or own a job.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many business owners that own a job. Your job is to learn how to be a business owner so the business works and operates without you because of the systems, processes, and team that you built.
I was gonna grab you in there. Literally, I was writing about that because obviously, one thing we have to appreciate the difference between the U.S. and Europe is the 401k, which is your pension. Okay, so we do have nationalized, and how your friend Steve told me you live in a socialist country. It's like within reason. We do have the state will give us a pension, and it will be a reasonably good enough pension, mind you, probably not to my generation and not for the next one. But in the US, it's much more obvious that you need to build a business that is going to be profitable after you're gone, because you basically needed to pay for your retirement, so to speak. And as you said, many owners fail to give that step. What Greiner said about the first crisis, which is leadership. We've done plenty of lectures in leadership and everything, but it clicked to me when I talk about Greiner and said, like, look, the leadership crisis is when you stop being the owner of a job and you become the owner of a business and a workman or a workwoman there. So how a normal vet, which is right now thinking about opening a hospital, how can they do that step from the very beginning and not halfway through? Which is not a problem, but it's just more difficult.
So, without being any more sarcastic than I normally am, using the adjective normal in front of a vet, I don't think you can use that, because I don't believe there's a normal vet.
Yeah, okay, well, I mean, you know what okay.
I
the
know
average Joe.
So listeners, for those of you who don't know, Nacho and I fling a lot of this at one another.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
We are very good at dishing poop at one another. So yes. Bottom line is there is no such thing as a normal vet. But for the veterinarian out there who wants to be an entrepreneur, start with a dream.
Mm-hmm.
Make note, write it down, draw pictures of it, take pictures of it. Take a blank piece of paper and a Sharpie or a pencil or a biro. Isn't that a term for pen in
the UK? It's a term for pen. Yes.
Yes, and start to make notes. Start with a dream. Mm-hmm. We call it a vision.
Yes.
Create your vision board. Okay. And then with your vision, you have a mission, your why. What motivates you? What is motivating you? And it's not the money. There are very few people in veterinary medicine to get rich. In the practice side of things, there's a lot of people in the industry side of things who want to get rich. And so you have a dream, you have a mission or a why that dream will deliver to you, to your team, to the community, to the clients, to the pets. And then finally, you have the value system under which you will operate this business. If you have something to aspire to, then you can become an inspiration to the community and to those that are around you. And so my first message to anybody interested in veterinary medicine is to answer the question, why are you doing it? And then build the business around the why and make sure that the vision supports the why. I can envision an affordable care clinic that is really going to be very bare bones, stripped down, and an ability to provide affordable care because we didn't put a lot of money into all the frills that go into a lot of veterinary hospitals. On the other hand, I could envision creating a Ritz-Carlton veterinary hospital where basically everybody sits on gold thrones, or something to that effect. What is your community? What is your why? What does it look like? And don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it, because there will be a world of people who basically will say you're crazy. Well, surround yourself with those people who will help you achieve your dream and are not dream stealers. We have a lot of dream stealers out there that will tell you you can't do it. I will tell you that you can.
Okay, just getting back to the whole mission, vision, and values, which is something that I think you brought it in the book you brought that in a book. I read that of you in a book, and I hear you many times talking about it anyway. The other day I was doing this exercise, and I know it's not perfect, and I know you're not going to agree, but I went to ChatGPT and worked through it, because with the idea, and especially me, you know that I'm a little bit dispersed and I lack focus mostly of the time. But it is a good starting point, a stepping point to start writing things, because many people, it just feels too theoretical, that whole concept of mission, vision, and values. Not the values per se, which are easier to understand, but mission and vision, many people struggle to put it in black and white. What else could you recommend them?
What I would recommend is that my best ideas come walking the dog, taking a shower, driving, flying, when I don't have all sorts of other things distracting me. And so I'll actually stop and put a note in my phone, or I have Post-its all over the place of different ideas and thoughts. It's not likely that you're going to sit there for 6 hours and build something.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be 6 minutes done 100 times to get to 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And so the other thing is, you do exactly what Nacho and I are talking about right now. Is I say, hey, Nacho, what do you think about the following? And Nacho will say, you're too old for that. And I'll say, I only look old, I don't act old. So, we'll go back and forth. And so you find other people to have conversations with.
Mm-hmm.
I also would suggest you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There are some amazing practices that already exist out there that you can go and visit and emulate, maybe downsize, maybe upsize, maybe right size, because they're time that they're going to capsize. And so that was a good one. I like that.
Yeah, keep it. Write it down. I mean, just keep it for later, and then put a little.
Well, you're recording this, so I'll capture
yes,
it on that. But
it's being recorded, and the FBI is listening.
So that's nothing new with me. It's as long as ICE isn't knocking on our door. So I think it's really finding people to talk to. And some of the greatest thing about going to these large conferences is not the number of people there, but the number of conversations that go on there. I mean, Nacho, you sat with me at lunch a number of times. You sat with me when I was speaking, and the people coming up to you and starting a conversation, that's where your ideas come from.
Exactly. I think.
And
sorry to interrupt you there. just half a second, because that's I'm recording a bit. I record a video about that exactly. Conference nowadays for younger generation, they do struggle to build bonds and everything because of the COVID and everything that's been going on for them. You need to go and talk to people, and don't be afraid to come up to Peter or everything. I saw Peter after one of his lectures talking to absolutely everybody and having a long queue and having a minute for them and everything, and being kicked out of the room because somebody else was coming, and basically he needed to make room because we need to be on time. So obviously, sorry to interrupt you, but I thought that was such a strong point to remark, which is like, go and talk to people. You don't go to a conference just to listen to a lecture and go home, because that is just a YouTube video, and with a 3D YouTube video. You're going there to ask questions, to meet with people that have been there and having the same trouble. And I met with some of your mentees, and it was really good how they really look up to you, and how they tell you their story. So sorry, just continue, please. If you've lost the track, I have a question anyway.
No, I just want to add that it may be hard to fathom that I'm actually an introvert. I'm relatively shy, and it's not comfortable for me to go up to people and ask questions. It is something I have grown into and out of, and I guess I'm more of an ambivert, because I get up in front of 250 and 300 people and can speak, but it is exhausting from that standpoint. But most of us who are involved with supporting the veterinary profession and making it better want to hear what you have to say. And it's very rare that any of us who are speaking at these events are going to push you away.
Exactly.
We want to hear what you say, because we're going to learn from you, which allows us to have our next talk, and it will integrate your conversation and questions from that standpoint. If the speakers aren't learning from the audience, and all they are is a sage on the stage, they're not contributing to your success. They're dictating to you instead of learning from you. I learn as much from the questions in the audience as I do from the presentation that I give from that standpoint. So please, if we happen to cross paths, if you happen to make it to the US and I'm speaking, or if someday, God willing, I actually get to Europe or South Central America and you want to come up and ask me a question, I'll be more than happy to take the minute to learn from you, just to thank you for learning from me.
And there's something else which I like to point out. I'm reading this book about how to prepping for the lecture about networking, because I need to learn about that. Basically, it says that if you want to start a good relationship with somebody, it seems counterintuitive, but rather than offering a favor, ask them a small favor, and that will put them in their good books. If it's obviously, you're not going to ask for a kidney so when you meet somebody, but if you ask for a small favor, they will basically feel like they have a good relationship with you, because they will get to you and say, oh, it's like I owe you. So obviously, when you come to Peter, you can ask for his slides, for whatever. I mean, he will very gladly do that. And as I said, it is something that really, really helps. This is something I want you to, I want to address with you, because we in the old continent and south of the Rio Grande and everything, we are tired of listening to the gold standard. Okay, the gold standard of practice, the gold standard of KPIs, the gold standard of absolutely everything. And I'm thinking, I was there last week, and it was all about commercials about the Olympics and how many golds the US is going to bring from Milano, from the Winter Olympics, and then in 2 years it's in LA and everything, and how you're going to take more than China and all those kind of things. I come from Spain, and one of the best memories are silver medals at basketball when we lost to the Dream Team, or when we lost to the Redemption Team. That was a kind of a steal. The one in the Beijing ones, that was a proper steal. And I will argue all over, and we bring Rob and we'll watch the video, and I'll show you when Kobe does traveling and then scores a 3-pointer and kills us with 1 minute to go. But anyway, what I mean is, there is also silver and bronze standard. People should not be pursuing just the gold standard, because not every owner is going to be able to afford a $9,000 cruciate ligament just like they do in the US.
Yeah, the gold standard, it's interesting. I had a conversation about this earlier today with a former dean. We're dealing with an affordability problem. It's not a gold standard, silver standard, bronze standard, platinum standard, titanium standard, or God knows what standard. It's an affordability problem. And so really it's about understanding what the pet needs, what the client needs, and the client's needs are emotional and financial, and being able to meet somewhere that allows you as a veterinarian to take care of that pet so that you can help to sustain the human animal bond. And so the tendency has always been to go to offer the best first. Some of that is a result of the need to practice defensive medicine in case you're brought up for a complaint, and some of it is financial to help pay the bills. Neither of those take into consideration the one actually paying the bill. So, Nacho, you and I have talked about this ad nauseum, but this goes back to one of the weakest points of veterinary medicine globally, and that's communication. We don't know how to communicate about this very emotional, sensitive topic called money. Because veterinarians want to be loved, and money is a barrier to love. And I can go on so many tangents on that, but I'll leave that alone. But it really is a difficult area to talk about. I would suggest it's an interesting concept, and I brought it up here in the United States, and it probably would settle even more in the UK and Europe, where pet health insurance is higher penetration. But I think socialized veterinary medicine would make everybody happy.
Well, I
If you could make,
mean, they do have it in El Salvador, and the vets aren't impressed with it.
no?
No,
Well,
because
you'll have to explain to me what's going on in El Salvador.
well, basically, Bukele, as part of the project of putting all the bad people in jail, he decided to open a hospital at an affordable rate, which, by the way, you pay in Bitcoins, I think it is. And I know somebody that has a clinic nearby, and the vets around it, they are not really good, because it's done because politicians have got involved. I'm going to be honest with you. In the UK, we do have the NGOs, okay, the non-profitable things like PDSA, RSPCA, and there's a few smaller branches of similar entrepreneurs. And it's the best thing, because you basically take away the clients that cannot really afford. So you do have a place to send them, and somebody else, so they become somebody else's problem, so to speak. So
well, I wouldn't put it, I don't like putting it off into being somebody else's problem unless the pet owner is a behavioral problem, not a financial problem.
Yeah, I mean,
but I would,
that's the problem. Many owners do have a behavioral problem, because let's put it this way, it's where the system cracks, because as a concept, senior lady with a low paying pension and everything, with her little cat that is injured, nobody will have a problem to see that, okay, whether it's at a discount or, unfortunately, then you do have the people that lives off benefits and start to abuse the system, and then they turn up with a expensive car, expensive phone, and then it's just like, okay, you tell me you don't have money, but clearly you do. You just don't want to spend it, and you want to threaten me, and, as you said, defensive medicine, that you start threatening me that you're gonna sue me and this and the other. So
let's get back to affordability, and just to suggest that this is a communication issue. And as a consultant, like you do, and as a consultant like I did, we advocate for profitability because that helps the owner of the hospital, helps the staff. And profitability comes from seeing people and having an average transaction. And that average transaction could be high and you see them once, or it can be low and you see them multiple times, but it all comes together to give you revenue. And then on the other hand, you have to control your expenses so that you can pay the bills and pay yourself and pay your team, etc. We have to find ways to improve our business models to allow us to be affordable and profitable, depending upon the audience of pet owners to whom we want to perform. And one final thought. We cannot make everybody happy. And when you try to make everybody happy is when you get into trouble. So in the same way that the Marriott has 6 or 7 different segments of hospitality.
35. I watched a documentary
Okay.
about it. 35 different brands within the same umbrella.
All right. So in the way that the Marriott has 35 different brands within the same umbrella, we have veterinarians who try to provide 35 different brands in one 2,000 square foot veterinary hospital. And it makes it really difficult when you look at the different economic situations that our pet owners have. So there's a book that was written by an author by the name of Marshall Goldsmith entitled, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And so what I'm suggesting in 2026, as we start to figure out what we're going to be when we grow up again, what got us to 2026 is not going to be what we need to get us to 2036. And this is a great time to rethink how we go about doing every aspect, every component of the veterinary profession so we can ramp up to meet the needs of a changing consumer environment that makes it more accessible, more affordable, and ultimately more appreciated for the great work that we do that does not get nearly the appreciation that we deserve.
Yes, it's something I've been saying for a while, which is the model, the veterinary business model is gone, is dead. It needs to be reinvented. I don't know which going to be. I know what it cannot be, which is what it used to be. Let's put it that way. I know there's. So I know that I'm not gonna steal you much more time. I'm gonna put the outro music on the way while we're here, and I'm gonna ask you the question. What can you tell me about the consolidation? Oh, hold on a second. I put the outro music, but I put it loud. I needed to put it in the background for this question because I think it's the important one. The reason people has come here. How do you see the veterinary market and the consolidations in the US? What are you seeing? What do you think is going to happen, and how can that affect other markets if it can or it cannot?
So the consolidation market in the United States started in the early 90s. VCA was the initial big consolidator out there, now owned by Mars. And it's continued, and there was a huge uptick during the 2020 to 2022 pandemic when veterinary medicine was the golden goose. We were busy, we were making money. Let me say we were making revenue. We weren't necessarily making profit. But there was a lot of interest in private equity and venture capital looking at this and saying, okay, let's buy in. And so there was a tremendous buy-in and buy-out of veterinary practices. And it led to where we are now, which is 25% of the good companion animal practices being corporate owned, 50% of the revenue is corporate owned, 75% of the specialty hospitals are corporate owned, 50% of the employees are corporate owned, or employed, I should say.
They are owned, they're branded.
Let's not go there. I think what we have is, I think we've peaked in terms of the acquisition side of things because interest rates are so high, it makes it very difficult to get money. And many of the consolidators have recognized that owning, operating, and running a companion animal veterinary practice is freaking difficult. It is extremely complex, and that the motivation that they have for money is not the same motivation that the veterinary hospital team has, because the veterinary hospital team's motivation is to take care of the patient and the client, and they just want to focus on that. So what I do see is some slowing down of the acquisition. I think we're seeing some of the consolidators trying to work on enhancing their individual practices and maybe even doing some cleanup of some of the less profitable practices. I think there's been some cuts at some of the upper level of some of the consolidators from an administrative standpoint, because there's a heavy cost burden there. And I think what you've seen in Europe, and I know they've seen in Australia, is a consolidation of the consolidators because the ROI for the stockholders has not come at the rapid pace that was promised during the pandemic. So I would like to suggest that we've hit a level of normalization of the consolidators to the point that they are a great exit strategy for those who want them, but there are still other exit strategies for people who want to sell to independent buyers from that standpoint. So corporate consolidators are not the evil empire. They're not the New York Yankees. But what they are is an opportunity for exit strategy for those who want to follow that path. And I think that what we have as a profession is we have strength in numbers, we have strength in passion, and I really can't say enough great things about all my friends and colleagues who are in this profession, who have been working in it as long or longer than I have, about the great things that you do. So if anything, I'm a cheerleader for you as believers in veterinary medicine, supporters of veterinary medicine. And I don't care where you are in the world listening to this, whether you're in the UK, whether you're in Spain, whether you're in El Salvador, Venezuela, wherever it may be the case. But I'm just a big advocate about, hey, let's control our own destiny. Let's own our profession, and let's do that as independent hospitals, giving back to the community and making a difference for the people and the pets that we take care of.
Well, you say that the consolidators are not evil, okay? They are not really the charities that they want to portray themselves as. Okay, they have an agenda, right, and that agenda is to make money because they have to respond to many back, which is respectful. But I don't have a problem with them either if they tell me the truth. But I've been hearing for many years now, we're here because we care about the pets, we care about this, we care about that, and within 6 months, 18 months, they were giving the pass to the next one and cashing in on the big check after they've done a few acquisitions. So obviously that is the main thing. So I'm not gonna steal any more time. I'll probably ask you another favor another time. I just wanted to thank you because I think it's been very good. It does flow like our normal conversations. So this one, we just recording it and putting it out there for anybody who wants to listen, because this is what we normally do. We just go from one end to the other, trying to fix a wall that is broken. I mean,
I just didn't use any 4-letter words.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it's like a bucket with a hole at the bottom. We are trying to keep the water in, and it's not possible. So, anyway, thank you very much, Peter. Thank you for giving me some time, and let's see, and I'll share you the link and everything. And gracias a todo el mundo que habéis estado ahí, no habéis aguantado. No olvidéis suscribiros, darle un like y nos vemos en el siguiente. Un saludo.
Muchas gracias, Nacho.